You've got gold fever, and you're thinking an IRA is the cure, right? Solid plan for long-term security.
Definitely a popular move these days.
But here's a head-scratcher. Even though it's your gold, Uncle Sam says you can't just keep it under your mattress.
Yeah.
Sounds a bit odd, doesn't it?
It does raise an eyebrow for many. We're diving deep today into the somewhat intricate world of gold IRA storage.
Okay.
Our guide is an article from Doug Young. He's been navigating the financial landscape, especially precious metals, for, over 2 decades now.
20 years, wow.
Yeah, his experience with gold IRAs is pretty extensive. Makes his insights really valuable here.
Exactly. So whether you're actively setting up a gold IRA, or maybe you already have one and just want to double check you're doing things right,
Or just curious.
or just curious about the rules of this whole game, yeah, this is for you. We're trying to cut through the complexity. Give you the must-know info on keeping your gold IRA secure and, importantly, compliant with IRS rules. Our goal is pretty simple. Unpack the essentials of gold IRA storage.
Yeah.
What the IRS demands, what your options actually are.
So you can feel informed.
Exactly. Informed and hopefully avoid any potential pitfalls down the line.
Okay, let's tackle the big one right away. The fundamental rule, something Doug Young really emphasizes in his article.
Yeah.
Storing your IRA gold at home. Or, in your personal safe deposit box. It's simply not permitted. Full stop.
It feels counterintuitive, though. I mean, you own the asset. Why can't you keep it close?
Yeah, I get that. The key reason, though, lies in preserving the tax advantage status of your retirement account.
Ah, the tax part.
Right. The IRS needs to ensure that the assets within the IRA remain, qualified retirement funds.
Okay.
Allowing you to take physical possession before retirement. Well, that would basically be viewed as an early distribution.
Undermining the whole point.
Exactly. It undermines that tax benefit.
Okay. That makes sense in the context of, like, maintaining the IRA wrapper. So if home storage is out, where does this gold actually go?
Right. This is where IRS-approved depositories come into play.
Depositories.
Yeah. Doug Young mentions several well-known names, like Delaware Depository Service Company, Brinks Global Services.
Oh, yeah, Brinks, sure.
HSBC Bank USA has a precious metals storage division, International Depository Services, IDS.
Okay.
Think of these as, highly specialized, super secure vaults that meet very specific IRS criteria.
So it's not just any old storage unit down the street. They've got to jump through specific hoops.
Precisely. Yeah, they're heavily regulated and audited, and it's not something you arrange directly either. No. A licensed custodian, that's the financial institution managing your gold IRA, they are legally required to handle the storage.
Ah, so the custodian arranges it.
They arrange it and manage it at one of these approved facilities on your behalf. You're not dealing with the vault directly for storage arrangements.
Okay. And what if someone does decide, you know what, I'm just going to take my gold home for a weekend? What are the repercussions?
Well, Doug Young is pretty clear on this. If you take physical possession of the gold from your IRA before you hit retirement age,
Yeah.
the IRS treats it as a distribution, plain and simple.
Yeah, and that means?
That can lead to income taxes on the value, plus potentially those nasty early withdrawal penalties.
Ouch.
Yeah, it completely negates the advantages of having the IRA in the first place. Talk about a costly peak.
Definitely a scenario to steer clear of. Wow. Okay, now, the article gets into different ways your gold could be stored within these depositories.
Right. There are options.
This is where it gets interesting, I think. Segregated versus commingled, allocated versus non-allocated. Can you sort of break down these options for us?
Certainly. Let's start with segregated versus commingled. Segregated storage basically means your specific coins or bars is kept physically separate from other investors' metals.
Okay.
Imagine having your own little designated locker or shelf within the big vault.
Gotcha. So those are your bars.
Exactly. This often provides, a greater sense of security for some people at the comfort of knowing exactly which items belong to you.
And commingled is the opposite then, like a shared space.
Precisely. With commingled storage, your gold is stored together with the gold of other IRA investors. Think of it as a shared section in the vault. While this can sometimes be a bit more cost-effective because you're sharing space.
Right, economies of scale.
Kind of, but you don't have a direct claim to specific items. You own a share, like an amount, of the collective pool of gold.
Okay, so segregated gives you that direct, this is mine feeling. Now, allocated versus non-allocated, That sounds similar, but is there a difference?
Yeah, you're right. It sounds similar, but there's a subtle but really important distinction, mostly in the record keeping and legal claim.
Okay.
Allocated storage means that the specific gold items you own are listed, like itemized, under your name in the depository's official records.
Documentation.
Exactly. This offers an extra layer of legal protection, especially if, say, the depository itself were to face financial difficulties.
How so?
Well, your specifically identified assets are less likely to be considered part of the depository's general assets in, like, a bankruptcy scenario. They're clearly earmarked as yours.
Right, that makes sense. An additional safeguard.
Yeah.
So what's the potential vulnerability then with non-allocated?
With non-allocated storage, your gold isn't individually earmarked to your account in the records. You essentially have a claim on a certain quantity and purity of gold held in their overall inventory.
Okay.
The potential risk here, and it's generally considered small with reputable depositories, but it exists, is that if the depository had major financial issues,
Yeah.
these non-allocated assets might be seen as part of their general pool and could, potentially, be subject to claims by the depository's creditors.
Okay, so it sounds like both segregated and allocated offer enhanced security and clearer ownership.
They generally do, yes.
And I guess that's probably reflected in the cost. Doug Young notes each option has different security levels and fees.
That's a really critical consideration, absolutely. The level of security, the type of access or reporting you get, and the costs will vary depending on which storage type you select.
Right.
It's definitely not a one-size-fits-all answer. The best choice really depends on your individual priorities, maybe your risk tolerance.
And the article advises having a detailed conversation with your custodian about these choices.
Yes, definitely. Talk to your custodian, understand what their specific depository partners offer, what the costs are, and provide clear instructions on how you want your assets stored.
Proactive engagement seems key here.
Absolutely. Understanding these storage distinctions is, well, it's crucial for safeguarding your investment. As Doug Young emphasizes, the right storage solution isn't just about protecting against, theft or fire. It also ensures you remain compliant with those IRS regulations we talked about. And frankly, it provides that all-important peace of mind for your retirement savings.
So, when we're weighing these options, segregated, commingled, allocated, non-allocated, what are the key questions we should be asking ourselves or our custodian? What factors should we be considering?
Doug Young highlights several important aspects to weigh. First, obviously, the security features the depository offers.
Like what?
What measures do they have against theft, fire, floods, other potential threats? Understand their security protocols.
Okay.
Then, while direct physical access before retirement isn't allowed, you might consider the accessibility of information about your holdings. How easy is it to get statements, see your inventory?
Transparency. Yeah.
Exactly. And, of course, the associated costs. These fees need careful evaluation because they can eat into your overall investment returns over time.
So it's that classic trade-off again, security, transparency, cost, finding the right balance for you personally.
Precisely. And Doug Young specifically cautions against just focusing on the cheapest option.
Right. You get what you pay for.
Often, yeah. The cheapest might not offer the level of security or the type of storage, like segregated or allocated, that gives you the most peace of mind. It's about finding that sweet spot that aligns with your risk tolerance and what helps you sleep at night.
Makes total sense, especially with something valuable like gold. Now, the article also mentions something called independent vault storage as like a premium option.
Yes, that's right.
What sets that apart from, say, storage at Brinks or HSBC?
Independent vault storage typically represents a very high level of security, mainly because these facilities specialize exclusively in storing precious metals.
So it's their entire business, not just a side service.
Exactly. Their whole infrastructure, their operational focus, their staff training, it's all dedicated specifically to securing valuable assets like gold and silver.
Okay. So unlike a bank that might have a vault section, these are purpose-built.
Correct. This specialization often allows them to implement really advanced security measures, sometimes surpassing what you might find in more general storage facilities.
Like what sort of measures?
Well, Doug Young points to things like 247 surveillance, multi-layered access controls, maybe biometric scanners,
Wow.
and even sophisticated protections against things like seismic activity or, advanced fire suppression systems.
That sounds incredibly secure, like Fort Knox for your IRA.
In many ways, yeah, that's the idea. And another really significant advantage of these top-tier independent vaults, as Doug Young notes,
Yes.
is their insurance policies. They typically carry comprehensive insurance that covers the full replacement value of your stored gold.
Full value. Okay, that's crucial.
Absolutely. It provides that extra layer of financial protection just in case the almost unthinkable happens.
So for someone who's really prioritizing maximum security, maximum peace of mind, an independent vault sounds like a very strong contender.
It can be, yes.
But how do you go about choosing the right one? Are there differences between them?
Oh, definitely. And Doug Young provides some excellent guidance here. First, look for a vault with a strong, established reputation within the industry. Look for transparent pricing. You need to understand all the fees involved. No surprises. Check their track record, their history of reliability.
Due diligence.
Absolutely. And critically, you must verify that the facility is IRS approved for IRA precious metal storage. Not all secure vaults are.
Good point. Got to check that IRS approval.
And finally, as we just discussed, scrutinize their insurance coverage. Make sure it's robust and covers the full value.
Solid, actionable advice there. Due diligence is clearly crucial when you're entrusting your nest egg, literally your gold, to someone else.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, Doug Young also shares some expert tips for sort of managing your gold IRA storage over time. It's not just set and forget it.
No, definitely not. His primary advice really revolves around two things: regular review and staying informed.
Okay.
He stresses the importance of periodically reassessing your storage arrangements. Make sure they still meet your needs.
Needs can change.
Exactly, especially as the value of your gold IRA grows over time. What seemed like adequate storage or insurance coverage when you started might need reconsideration as your holdings increase significantly.
That's a really good point. Your storage needs might not be static.
Precisely. He also emphasizes just staying up to date on any changes.
Changes to what?
Changes in IRS regulations regarding storage, or maybe changes to the insurance policies offered by your depository or custodian. These things can change, and being aware allows you to make informed decisions.
So it's not a one-time setup. It requires some ongoing attention, maybe an annual check-in.
Exactly. An annual check-in is a good idea. Now, the article also helpfully addresses some frequently asked questions.
Oh, good. FAQs are always useful. Let's tackle those.
Okay.
First up, can you store your gold IRA holdings at multiple locations? Split it up.
Doug Young confirms that, yes, technically it is possible to store your gold IRA holdings at multiple locations.
But
there's a big caution. Each facility must be an IRS-approved depository.
okay, that makes sense.
And while, diversifying storage might seem appealing for spreading risk, he advises really thinking carefully about the potential complexities.
Like what?
Managing your investment across multiple accounts, multiple fee structures, potentially increased costs overall.
Yeah, sounds like more paperwork.
It likely is. You need to weigh those logistical challenges against any perceived security benefit and, crucially, ensure you don't accidentally violate any IRS guidelines in the process.
Right. So while technically an option, it might add more complexity than it's worth for most people.
That's often the case, yeah.
Okay, next question. Do your storage choices, segregated versus commingled, this vault versus that vault, have any direct tax implications?
That's a common worry. Doug Young clarifies that the selection of a storage facility or the type of storage itself doesn't directly trigger tax consequences.
Phew. Okay.
The crucial thing, again, is adhering to the overall IRS regulations for IRAs. Meaning using an IRS-approved facility and avoiding any action that could be seen as an early distribution.
By taking it home.
Exactly. Unauthorized access, taking possession before retirement age. Those are the things that cause tax issues. The storage choice itself, as long as it's compliant, shouldn't.
Good to know. But he probably still recommends talking to a tax pro.
Oh, absolutely. He strongly recommends consulting with a qualified tax advisor to understand your specific situation fully. Always wise.
Always wise. Okay, next. How often should you review or reassess these storage arrangements? We touched on this, but is there a recommended frequency?
Doug Young suggests an annual reassessment is generally a good practice.
Once a year.
Yeah, maybe tie it into your other financial planning reviews. Additionally, he recommends reviewing your storage anytime there's a significant change.
Change in what?
A big change in your investment portfolio's value, maybe significant shifts in market conditions, or even changes in your own personal circumstances or risk tolerance.
Okay, so annually or when something big changes.
Right. Regular check-ins just help ensure your storage choice still aligns with your needs and provides the security you require.
Makes sense to keep it aligned. Okay, Finally, the article touches on whether storage options differ for different types of precious metals. Like, is gold treated differently than silver?
Yes, they can vary. That's an important point.
How so?
Doug Young points out that some facilities, for instance, might offer segregated storage for higher value per ounce metals like gold, but might only offer commingled storage for something like silver, partly because it's bulkier and has a lower value per unit of weight. Storage logistics can differ.
Practical reasons.
Exactly. So it's really vital to confirm the specific storage policies with your chosen provider for each type of precious metal you hold in your IRA.
So if you have a mix of metals, you need to know the specific protocols for gold, for silver, for platinum, etc.
You got it. Understand how each will be handled and what your options are.
Wow. This has been incredibly insightful. Definitely sheds light on the often overlooked back end of owning gold in an IRA.
Absolutely. It's crucial stuff. So just to quickly recap the key points for everyone listening.
Yeah, let's do that.
Remember that fundamental IRS rule. Your gold IRA must be stored in an approved depository. No keeping it at home.
Crucial. Number one takeaway.
Then, within those depositories, you generally have options. Segregated versus commingled, allocated versus non-allocated. Each offers different levels of security, different costs.
You need to understand those trade-offs.
Right. Selecting the right storage solution is really essential, both for protecting your actual investment and for ensuring you stay compliant with IRS rules.
And maybe the most important underlying theme is that this isn't just a one-time decision you make when you open the account.
Exactly. That regular review, staying informed about regulations and policies, that's crucial for the ongoing security and compliance of your gold IRA over the long haul.
It really is.
Which, brings up maybe a final thought for you listening. When you're planning your long-term financial security, especially looking beyond just typical stocks and bonds, how thoroughly have you considered the actual safeguards for those investments? Thinking critically about the security, the insurance, the proper handling of assets like gold in an IRA, it's a vital part of the truly robust retirement strategy. It goes beyond just the potential returns and gets into the practical realities of keeping that investment safe and sound for the future.